Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Mind Your Puckin' Business with your host, Jeffrey Krentzman.
Thank you, Dougie Sticks. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I am good. And as always, we are coming to you from the studios of Undefeated Media here in beautiful Bergen County, New Jersey. This is the Mind Your Puckin' Business podcast, episode number 38 on the Spanish dial, Trent.e Ocho.
Nice. You're fluent now.
Silky smooth, baby. Silky smooth. Who needs Rosetta Stone when you work here? And as always, you can email your questions to us throughout the show or even during the week. We do check that. And that is at mypbshow@gmail.com. So feel free to you can send us questions. You can also send us feedback, whatever you'd like. We do check it. And
we don't put enough emphasis. We are live, and they can actually put them in the comments section. We can answer them live.
Yes, which means we don't have any
prep.
You know, on the spot, baby, on the spot. And you can listen to us. I'm sure you're listening to us right now on one of these four things: iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or Facebook. You know, over the weekend, I'm not going to say the person because I know he listens every show, and clearly he does because he said what he said. He said that when I say on the program, you know, you can hear us on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, or iTunes. Yeah. He said he could say it. He said I say it the same way every week. And so I tried to mix it up there a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, try and throw you a little curveball.
Calling card.
Yeah, but you know what? You got to tell the people how they can listen to us.
True.
And we appreciate you listening to us. As always, thank you for your listenership. So today we're going to go through the Stanley Cup Finals, which ended last week. And I'm going to hope that you didn't make the bet that you said you were going to bet. We'll get into that in a little bit. We'll run through some Ranger stuff as well. And then we will continue, hopefully, with our Summer Small Business Spotlight series, which hopefully we'll have a guest be joining us a little bit later. But before we do that, and before we get started, how's everything with you today?
Great. Do we want to go into our bets?
We'll get there. Oh, no, I haven't.
I don't want to get out of your list.
No. I have it. We'll get
there. No complaints. How about you? Any stories? We got any?
Any stories? I'm trying to think of the past week. No, not really. A lot of rain here. I feel like we live in Florida now, where every day in like late afternoon it rains.
It's weird.
But no stories. Battling a little bit of a cold, as you can hear, but that's okay.
Got the bid. He's got the bid.
He's got the Rona. He does not have the Rona. He's okay. So the Stanley Cup Finals, which ended last week, really was what we kind of actually predicted in the two shows that we were on during the Stanley Cup, which was that it really wasn't going to be much of a series at all. Montreal, in the end, was very overmatched in the series, and part of that can also just be due to the fact that Tampa is an incredibly deep team. Like when you look at their team, yes, you know Stamkos and you know Kucherov and you know the big players and Hedman and all those guys. But a lot of their, second and third line players probably would be playing on higher lines if they played on other teams. They're incredibly deep. And the depth was a problem here for Montreal throughout the series, and they got overmatched. And also the other problem, looking back at the series, was the big players on Montreal, the ones that are really paid the money to score the goals and do the big things, didn't do that. So if you have your big players not show up for a Stanley Cup final or get shut down, maybe that's a nicer way of saying that, it's going to be very, very difficult to win. The only way that Montreal could win and overcome that would be if Carey Price continued at the ridiculous pace that he had been playing at, and he did not do that. He is human after all, and had an average series. And the Tampa Bay Lightning now have won the Stanley Cup on back-to-back years and did so by eliminating the Tampa Bay Lightning. By eliminating the Montreal Canadiens in 5 games. Yep. So we congratulate Tampa. Did you see yesterday? You will like this. They had because of COVID, I don't know if this is a COVID thing or maybe it's a cool thing that they should be doing in Tampa anyway. Instead of doing like a ticker tape parade, which would also then have 1 million people next to each other, they do a boat parade where the players are on a boat. And so they dented the Stanley Cup pretty bad yesterday. It needs to get repaired.
Wow. Yes. And so that's the one thing, because we obviously saw it with Tom Brady throwing the Super Bowl trophy around on the boats. Like that someone's going to drop one of these trophies in the water.
Yes.
And then what happens? The scuba team goes in there and gets it. How deep is the water?
I don't think it's that deep because it's right. It's not far out. Yeah, it's not that far out. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't happen. And you know
first
what?
come, first serve gets that trophy, man.
Hopefully it won't be an issue because the Rangers will win the cup and they will not
They
be
will
partying.
never go
They
on
wouldn't be in the
boat.
Hudson River. We know that. If God willing,
No
the
one's going to get that trophy.
No, just let it go. We'll let the trophy go. The historic, 100-year-old trophy can just go away. But so congratulations to Tampa. So next year, and we have plenty of time on the show in the next couple of weeks with the NHL offseason starting. The Tampa coach John Cooper said something really interesting in one of his post-game press conferences after winning the cup, which was, look, these guys know, and he said that they haven't really publicly said it, which you would understand why they wouldn't do that. But there is an understanding that Tampa's going to have trouble keeping the team as it is next year.
Mm-hmm.
So Tampa will still be very good. Obviously, their goaltender Vasilevsky is great, won the Conn Smythe, and they still will have Kucherov and Stamkos and some of these big-time guys and Hedman. But they are going to have some issues staying together, so it'll be interesting. But we do give them credit. It's very hard in any sport to repeat as champions. I think it's even particularly harder to do so in hockey. And look, because of the COVID situation, Tampa won the cup in October last year, so they've now won the cup 2 times in 9 months, which is incredible. Or if I'm a Ranger fan, I'd be happy once every 10 years.
Yeah, wasn't there one? There's a player that won it 3 times in a row because he just traded.
Patrick Maroon. Yeah, so he won it. He's a really funny guy. He won it in 2019 in St. Louis, signed that offseason with Tampa, won it last year, and then won it again. He is also a free agent here coming up. It does not sound like he's coming back to Tampa. So maybe he's like the good luck charm, right?
Yeah.
Like he's going for 4 in a row.
What is what's the most consecutive Stanley Cup wins for a team? Do we know? 3 maybe?
Well, the Islanders, let's see. The Islanders won it 4 times in a row, 1980, 81, 82, 83. That would be the last most recent run of success, which was a while ago. Now that's 40 years. You probably in the early days when it was the original 6 and you only had 6 teams and Montreal was dominating, they probably had a string in there. But look, it's not easy to do back-to-back. It's not easy to win the cup as it is, even 1 year. So really, we do have to give our props to Tampa. Now, I'm watching the series last week, and I got really annoyed at something, and then I kind of, in my mind, I just let it go. And then I had 2 separate Ranger fans mention it to me. So then I knew I was not alone on this topic. And that was what an awful trade the Rangers made years ago, trading Ryan McDonagh and JT Miller to Tampa. We'll get to the JT Miller aspect in a minute, but Ryan McDonagh was the captain for the Rangers for quite a number of years. And in 2018, when the Rangers kind of went through this famous rebuild, the letter which referred to as the letter, where season ticket holders like myself got a letter saying, hey, you know what, you're going to notice we're going to make some changes and you may see some names that you like leave. That was kind of the warning. Ryan McDonagh was shipped to Tampa. And Ryan McDonagh in this series was outstanding defensively. Ryan McDonagh was never a player where he was going to light up he wasn't an offensive defenseman. He can play defense, and he plays defense really well. And if you watched the clinching game in Game 5 last Wednesday, you would hear the NBC crew, Eddie Olczyk and Pierre Maguire, constantly rave about how good Ryan McDonagh was in that game, which is just an extra annoyance as Ranger fans. So we've talked here, and I said a few weeks ago that I didn't think Jeff Gordon, who was the general manager of the Rangers, deserved to be fired a couple months ago now. But if you're on the opposite side of the spectrum where you were saying, you know what, we don't like Jeff Gordon, he's got to go, your number one case as to why he should go was probably this trade. It was atrocious now when you look back at it.
Do you think we're on the verge of making the same mistake with our young talent right now?
No. I think that they are going to hold on to their young talent, which is why I don't think they are going to really, at the end of the day, trade for Jack Eichel. I don't mind them testing the waters and seeing what offer they would get, but I don't think they're going to go make the move because of that reason. But when you look back at this Ryan McDonagh trade now, okay, the Rangers sent Ryan McDonagh and JT Miller to Tampa for a guy named Vladimir, I believe his first name was Nemastikov, who played 1 season here, was atrocious, and then went up to Ottawa. Libor Hayek, who is a defenseman who kind of got some ice time this past year, but look, I don't think there's any Rangers fan that would bet their mortgage that he's going to be anything special. They got Brett Howden, who's going to become the focus of my talk here for the next 5 or 10 minutes in a negative way, who has been look, he has not been a good player, Brett Howden. I don't know any other way to tell you. And then also included in that deal was a first-round draft pick, future first-round draft pick, which the Rangers then in turn used that later that year in 2018 in the NHL draft to pick up a defenseman, not to be confused with Henrik, named Niels Lundqvist, who also I don't think any Ranger fan would be betting a lot of money is going to be great. So now when you look at this trade, and JT Miller, by the way, who is now not in Tampa anymore, but is in Vancouver, has had a really good run out there. So you've now traded Ryan McDonough and JT Miller for Nemastikov, Libor Hayek, Brett Howden, and a pick that became Niels Lundqvist. That's not a good trade in any way, shape, or form.
So why did we make it? Were we not seeing eye to eye? Were we not?
You know what? I thought about this yesterday. When the trade was made, and this is like any trade in any sport, right?
Yeah.
You want the day that a trade is made, you want to decide who won the trade, right? Did team A or team B? In this case, you had to wait a bunch of years. Now in hindsight, and I remember where I was actually. I was on the playground at my kid's school when the trade happened, and I got a million texts about it. But you have to wait and see how these players play out. And now that we have hindsight, because it's down 3 years down the road, Nemastikov didn't do anything. Libor Hayek doesn't look great. Brett Howden sucks. And the pick Niels Lundqvist, I mean, maybe he'll be okay, but he's not going to be great. And we traded Ryan McDonough and JT Miller for that. That is an awful trade.
Were you excited at the time?
I think at the time I was neutral because I didn't know a lot of the guys coming back. I kind of understood it. Again, they were trying to rebuild and their window of opportunity that they had in the middle of the last decade in the 2014s and 15s was closing. I understood it. But now when you look back at this specific deal and you analyze it, it sucked. Like it was a really bad trade.
Yeah. No backsies.
And give Tampa, and at the time, Steve Yzerman was still the general manager there before he left to go to Detroit, where he is now. Give him credit. I mean, he robbed Jeff Gordon blind. So just so we congratulate as Ranger fans on this program, and a lot of you guys that listen are. We do congratulate Ryan McDonough. I noticed that a lot of Ranger fans last week came out saying how much they miss Ryan McDonough, and he was one of their favorite players. Mac, as his name used to be referred to. So we do send our congratulations to Ryan McDonough, who now, after his New York exit, has won 2 cups in 9 months. So if you're him, I think you're probably pretty happy. Yeah. It sounds like, and I'm not sure why, I have to read more into it, but I have been reading that it sounds like he's not going back to Tampa next year. Again, they're going to have a different team. So I'm not saying that I'm campaigning for the Rangers to bring him back because now he's on the downside of his career where he's older. But at the same time, man, just an atrocious trade. So we congratulate Ryan McDonough. But in positive news for the New York Rangers, in the defensively, and I should have mentioned it last week, and I screwed up and I didn't. We need to congratulate Adam Fox, defenseman for the Rangers. Yeah, Adam Fox won the Norris Trophy as the best defenseman in the NHL. Nice. Adam Fox, if you remember, and I know you don't, so I say if you remember, like I'm saying it like it's a question. So Adam Fox was he went to Harvard actually. Did you know that?
Smart guy.
Yes, he went to Harvard. So he's up there on the intellect level like you.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
he study a lot.
Yes, he went to Harvard, which is not really a school that you would think has a lot of good hockey players come from. Got drafted by Carolina, refused to play in Carolina, and then got traded for the Rangers. That was a good trade, right? So when you get that, I see we have a question coming in. It can't be that significant of accomplishment if PK Subban has done it as well. So PK Subban. Yes, I would say that's true. I'm gonna keep it G-rated here today. Yes. So PK Subban won the Norris Trophy, not with the Devils before he came to the tri-state area. So the Norris Trophy is, and I will say this to Brian, who wrote in that question, the Norris Trophy. PK Subban is not a defensive defenseman, right? He's an offensive guy. He takes 1 million slap shots a game. So I don't know if it basically waters down the Norris Trophy a little bit, but in any event, yes, PK Subban, I got nothing to add. But I will say this: we do congratulate Adam Fox because his future is bright. Remember, this was only his second year here in the league to begin with, and for him to win the league's best defenseman trophy, the future is bright. And that would be an example, Dougie Sticks, of a really good trade.
Nice.
A second-round pick for a player in his second year winning the Norris Trophy. So
absolutely,
we congratulate Adam Fox, and we look to continue to watch him in the Ranger number 23 sweater for many years to come on Broadway. So as we head into the offseason now keep in mind, in a normal non-coronavirus world, if we can remember what that was like, which is hard to do, the season would end in June, meaning that the offseason is spread out. Well, the NHL has come out and said, and I said this on the show about a month ago, that they're targeting to start on time in October. So because of that and the fact that the season just ended in mid-July, you're going to have a very, very expedited offseason. With that being said, you got to get ready because a lot of stuff is going to happen quickly. And it starts next week with the Seattle Kraken, the newest team, the 32nd member of the NHL, having their expansion draft next Wednesday. So that will be exciting. And then we also have coming up free agency, which is the following week. So a lot will be going on. And if you're the Rangers here, man, you know, just to kind of like 101 how expansion drafts work,
give it to me.
Yeah, give it to you because you're going to need it. Every team will have one player taken from their roster from the new team, which in this case is Seattle. If you're the Rangers, you're really looking at one of these four players, probably Brett Howden, Julien Gauthier, Kevin Rooney, or Colin Blackwell. To me, if I'm sitting here and I could script this any way I want, I would rather see Brett Howden go to Seattle. That would be me.
Gotcha.
I don't know if you have an interest.
My question is to you, is basically you on your roster, you get to you say you can't touch these players, and you get to. So like, how many players do you get to put on?
You can protect, I believe, up to 9. So you're not going to allow a team to pick your star, right? So and that's why the list of the 4 people I gave you would be the people that
only 9.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, but
how many players are on a team? 24.
Let's see, 6, 12, 18, like about 24 now.
Look at that. Look at that.
Boom. Research.
I'm smart, man. I went to Harvard.
As we come up on the year anniversary of this show, you've learned a lot.
Thank you.
And so anyway, be on the lookout for a very expedited off season, which will make it fun. We'll cover it all here as we always do. And we'll go from there. So, what we're going to do now, we are going to shift to our small business summer.
Not yet. We got cookies in the oven.
Cool. Okay, so we'll go there in a second. So in the meantime, one more thing I want to mention with the Rangers, which is perfect. We have a couple more minutes. The Rangers this week yesterday named their assistant coaches going forward, which would be Mike Kelly, who should be no surprise because, again, Gerard Gallant got the head coaching job, and Mike Kelly has been his assistant everywhere he's gone. So I don't think that was a really suspenseful kind of move. And then Gord Murphy, who was actually down coaching the assistant coach for the Rangers down in the AHL affiliate in Hartford, the Hartford Wolfpack, will be the one of the other assistant coaches. And they have said they are waiting for to fill their third assistant coach job. So we're waiting for that. So Dougie Sticks, if you want to leave me and go coach an NHL team, maybe you should work on your resume now with how much you know.
I mean, I know a lot now. I know that you can't touch 9 of my 24 players. Are we going to go into, after our special guest, are we going to go into some of the other things that happen, the other sports and bets and stuff? Or do you want to take pace on that?
Yeah, why don't we do that? So the other day, that's perfect. So the other day I am sitting on Sunday now. Yeah. I get a text from you. So I was watching something with my children and you had texted me, what do I think of Milwaukee tonight? Because that was the night of Game 3.
Yes.
So that being said, you were debating either, and I was kind of walking you through the options.
Yes. We could be transparent. I was clicking around and I didn't want to make a mistake. Was this before or after the soccer game? This
was after.
Okay, so let's rewind a little bit.
Okay.
So I just downloaded DraftKings. Now we're supposed to. Spoiler alert, we're supposed to be having a special deal with DraftKings, but we'll see what happens. We might be working on something with DraftKings, but I finally signed up and got a thing. I was waiting for our deal to go through, but I just downloaded the app. went and bet on the McGregor fight. So, which was very disappointing. Dude breaks his own foot. Whatever, lost some money there. The next day was the Euro Cup, right? So I bet, my fiance is Italian, so I bet $100 on Italy.
Oh, I forgot about this part of the story.
Yes. See, this is a good story. So I bet $100 on Italy. Now, if I win $340 for my $100 bet. So I'm psyched, and I'm watching the game. They're losing, then they tie it up, then we go into overtime. I'm like freaking out, the edge of my seat the entire game. It goes into penalty kicks. Italy wins. Yes, $340. Check the app.
And a happy fiance.
Check the app. Lost.
So what happened with you, and you and I discussed on Sunday, is you had made a bet for them to win in full time, which means in a 90-minute thing. There was a bet to win the trophy, which was to win overall. Now, I will say, I was rooting myself for England. My grandmother, my late grandmother, is from England, so I guess that makes me like 25% British or something. So I was, and the company that I run has a British component to it, so I was clearly rooting for the UK. Although I love Italian food. If you're going to talk about which food is better, British food or Italian food, it ain't even close. But yeah, so that didn't work out. But then
that started the conversation. Being like, WTF? I don't want to lose my money again. I just want to pick the Bucks to win.
But you did have a better ending to Sunday, because you then asked me what I thought about the night game. And again, NBA is not my forte. We do talk about the Knicks occasionally here, but not often. So you had said, should I take Milwaukee on the money line, meaning just win the game, where the payout wasn't great, or do I take them on the line, which was them winning? They were giving 4.5, so Milwaukee would have had to win by 5, and Milwaukee won by 20. So which did you end up taking?
I took the by 5.
Okay, good. So you had a better payout.
Yeah. So I knew Milwaukee was going to win. It'd be really bad if they didn't. So like pressure was on them. I took them to win. So for that bet, yeah, sure. But I was pissed about the Italy bet. I was really pissed. So I didn't read the fine print.
Well, you didn't read the fine print. So
like, Italy to win.
DraftKings and all these sites for that.
I actually put it in a complaint. I actually typed in what the hell? I put them to win. How come I lost? Let's see if they answer me.
Well, at least you ended the day with a win, right?
Yeah, I'm even now.
Okay, so you know,
but I could have been $300.
Okay, so you can look at it that way, or you can look at it. Here's the positive way to look at it. You had free entertainment. You broke even.
Oh yeah, and now I'm addicted.
Oh great. That's
addiction.
That's just what we need on the show. So it's kind of like, I've always looked at it. Now, we haven't been in a while, but when my wife and I would go to AC, or we've been to Vegas a couple times, if you go and you gamble, right, and you spend the night, and you're in the casino for 2 or 3 hours, and you're playing my wife would be playing slots, but if you're playing table games like I like to play, and you break even, that's free entertainment. That's you can't beat that. God bless you over there.
Thank you. Absolutely. And going to the casino, I have self-control, and I'll be like, all right, betting this amount, whatever happens with this amount, free entertainment. I'm with you. But now that I have the casino in my pocket all the time,
that's dangerous.
Like cornhole came on, I was like, hey, should I bet on those guys?
Cornhole? You're betting on cornhole.
Right?
Yeah, you know what? The second that you start betting on cornhole, I think we're going to have to take the gambling aspect out of our show, because I'm going to be worried for your well-being if you start gambling on.
What can we gamble on? Let's gamble with if Brittany burnt her cookies this morning.
Nah. Now, is she here?
I think she's ready. Brittany, you ready?
Let's see.
Brittany's ready.
All right. So we're going to continue our small business summer spotlight series. Let's see if we can get all the cameras working here. Brittany, are you there? How are you?
Good. How are you?
We are good. So this is Brittany Baker, and she runs FOMO Baking. They are out of Ridgewood, New Jersey.
Nice.
And that is going to be our latest small business summer spotlight series. Now, I feel like, and I had a problem actually before we went on the air. Someone sent me an acronym like ETFN. I didn't know what it stood for. So in case you don't know what FOMO stands for, because I'm sure there are some people that don't, it is fear of missing out. So fear of missing out baking. So Brittany, why don't you tell us a little bit about the business and how it got started?
So FOMO Baking Co. says fear of missing out because it's completely allergen free. It's completely free of gluten, dairy, eggs, peanuts, tree nuts, soy, and sesame. And it's made in a dedicated kitchen, which is right behind me. So there's no cross-contamination. And it tastes like real cookies. So you could be in a group setting, you could bring them to a birthday party, and nobody has to miss out, sit in the corner with the dessert they brought from home, and everyone can kind of enjoy them together.
Yeah, they are really, really good. Now, I had been lucky enough that I had samples of these about a month ago. Now, I am not a chocolate person myself. I don't really care for chocolate. My son thinks I'm crazy because he's all about chocolate. But I had their snickerdoodle cookie, and I'm telling you, like, if you put a plate of 20 of these things in front of me, and do we have a picture that we can pull up? I think we have a picture, because I believe the picture that we have is of the snickerdoodle cookie. If you put 20 of these things in front of me, I'm pretty sure I would eat at least 15, because they're kind of like these bite-sized cookies. Yep, and that's exactly what we have. We're going to get it up here on the screen, which is these snickerdoodle cookies, and they are literally addicting. There they are right there.
Oh, yeah.
You can see them, and they are amazing. So now, what made you start this, Brittany? Where did you come up with the idea?
So I was diagnosed with celiac disease during my first year of law school about 10 years ago. And at the time, there were really not many safe things I could eat. There wasn't, trendy to be gluten-free back then. And a lot of times when restaurants or bakeries would say they had a gluten-free option, it would have cross-contamination and I would end up getting very sick from it. And so I started cooking and baking a lot on my own because I didn't have a choice. And when I was initially diagnosed, I was also instructed to be completely dairy-free for about the first 2 years. So out of necessity, I got really into baking. And when I was working as a lawyer, I eventually left my big firm job and I went in-house to the Hain Celestial Group, which is a huge, natural organic food company. And I started to really think about the fact that, this could be a business. And after my older daughter was born, I decided not to go back to being a lawyer and dive into this. But at this point in time, there really are a lot of specialty bakeries that exist. There are amazing gluten-free bakeries. There are amazing nut-free bakeries. There are amazing vegan bakeries. But there really, as far as I could find, there was nothing that catered to people that had multiple issues. The nut-free bakery used gluten and the vegan bakery used soy. And so if you're dealing with a group of people, such as a kid's birthday party where different kids have different allergies, there was really nothing that catered to everybody safely. And so I wanted to create something that was as inclusive as possible. So it's free of all of the major allergens so that, nobody has to miss out.
Yeah. Now you have in the sampler pack that I had, how many different flavors do you have now?
6 different flavors right now. We have chocolate chip brownie, oatmeal raisin, oatmeal chocolate chips, sugar, and snickerdoodle. Now,
I did try the oatmeal raisin. So I am not a huge raisin fan. So I kind of like picked around, and the oatmeal cookie was also really good. So a funny story, Brittany, about this, and I don't know if I told you this. So in the sampler pack that I had, it comes in like sheets of about 5 or 6 of them. Well, I didn't want my kids to eat all of them, right? So I was nice enough and I gave a sampler packet to one of my friends to try. Now, she knew the story that, they don't have gluten and all that stuff. She had left them in her house. Her husband came home from work one night and ate them all and asked where the cookies came from and didn't even know. I mean, he didn't even know that they were gluten-free. That's how good these things are.
Wow.
I mean, they are really, really good. So I saw on the website, are you doing cookie cakes now?
We are. So I haven't quite perfected how to ship them without UPS being too rough, but we are doing cookie cakes. Anyone that lives locally can order online and then come pick up in the store. And those have been really fun. A lot of people have been doing them for graduations and camp visiting days and birthdays. So it's been really fun.
Yeah, my wife is actually like the #1 cookie fan in the world, so I will be ordering that for sure. We're going to put up, as we're on there, we'll put up your website and Instagram handle so people can see that as well. Who comes up with the flavors? Is that you and the recipes?
Yep, it's been a lot of trial and error. I don't have any kind of real traditional baking background. It started as I know how to bake gluten-free and dairy-free. Now let me try to remove the egg. Let me try to, only use flours that don't have cross-contamination. And it took about 1.5 years to come up with the 6 recipes. So I'm hopeful that at some point I'll have time to get back to playing in the kitchen and coming up with some more flavors. And I have a lot of ideas of things I would love to do, but we've been a little busy just kind of fulfilling orders right now. So,
but that's a great problem to have as a small business. Do you personally have a favorite flavor? Like, is there one that you like the best?
My personal favorite is the chocolate chip or the cookie cake, just because I love cookie cakes, but that is basically just a giant chocolate chip.
Yes, I am absolutely going to have to. Or my wife is like crazy about cookie cakes. So I am absolutely ordering one of them real soon.
Is peanut butter on the menu? Are we allowed to use peanut butter?
Nope.
No.
No.
All right,
Nope.
never mind.
That would be,
My idea was the MYPB cookie.
Oh, you
Mind
want-
your peanut butter. MYPB.
Oh, I get it.
Mind your cooking business.
yeah, not on there. So,
Unfortunately.
so how many days a week? And you're out of Ridgewood. Am I right about that? Is that where you bake out of? Which is not far from where we tape the show. How many days a week are you baking normally on an average week?
On an average week, I probably bake 4 to 5 days. I can only ship out Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday just because, I don't want it sitting in a UPS warehouse over the weekend. Occasionally, I'll ship Thursday if someone pays to overnight. But pretty much I'm baking Sunday through Thursday every day. So, and it's just me. So a lot of baking.
God, yeah, that's a lot of mixing for one person. I did find in the sampler kit that you sent, the way that you guys package it, they stayed fresh for a decent amount of time. It really wasn't stale. Again, they didn't last that long in my house anyway. But even when we got to the end of it, I mean, they were really good. I mean, the Snickerdoodle one is like scary good. Remember the Pringles commercial growing up where like, bet you can't just eat one? That's like these cookies.
Yeah.
You can't, because they're kind of like bite size.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was Doritos, one of them. I think it was Pringles.
Once you stop, you can't stop.
I'm telling you, if you put these Snickerdoodle things, and it does not taste like anything is missing at all. Like, I mean, scary
Do
good.
some magic over there.
Scary good. Do you have, so your favorite flavor is a chocolate chip. Is there one flavor that sells better, or are they all pretty even?
It's funny. They're really pretty even. It just depends on what people tend to gravitate towards the most themselves. I think like in terms of bestsellers, the classic and the FOMO, just because it's 4 flavors or all 6 flavors, and people tend to like the variety versus just having, 25 of one flavor. But it really just depends on what people love. In my family, my 3-year-old loves the brownies the best. My husband's not super into chocolate like you, so he loves the oatmeal raisin and the Snickerdoodle the best. It just depends what people like.
So last week we featured, and I don't know if you've heard of them, Derrickle Donuts. They are out of Norwood, and they are completely donut facility. They are nut-free, allergy-free, same thing, thankfully. And he was saying, the owner that was on with us, Joe, was saying it's kind of been very comforting when he sees people say to him, look, I can't normally eat a donut. It's fulfilling. And they say, look, I had my first donut because I can eat your donut and it was really good. Do you see the same sort of reaction?
All the time, and I love it. People telling me that it's their 6-year-old's first chocolate chip cookie, and or that they were at a birthday party and they didn't have to bring a cupcake from home. It's really nice because, look, as an adult, I know the feeling of being at a wedding or being at a party and like sitting in the corner not eating when everyone else is eating stuff that looks awesome, and it sucks even at my age. So I can only imagine, if you're a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old, how it feels to be left out like that. And that was a big part of the inspiration, is to kind of take away that feeling of isolation.
Yeah, you really must be really treating people here that are not used to eating these foods, but then they eat them with how good they are. I mean, they must really think they've gone to heaven here and hit the jackpot with these cookies.
It's like when the people who can't see colors put those special glasses on. It's what she does for tummies.
See the world. Yeah, the cookies. I mean, it's got to be kind of a nice feeling to get all that feedback. What's the furthest you've gotten an order from so far?
A lot in California, a lot on the West Coast, California, Seattle. I think that's probably the farthest. We've been really busy with some sleepaway camps this summer. Luckily, we've gotten into a couple camps, and they've just been ordering thousands of cookies a week for their campers, which is pretty awesome. So, I just love being able to bake so people can eat safely and don't have to feel left out.
Now, do you have any plans, because you've gotten so busy and you said it's just you, do you have any plans to hire people soon to try and help? I mean, you do have kids at home. I mean, I feel like you're so busy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of at the precipice right now of, I can just kind of handle it on my own. If we get busier, I'm definitely going to need some help. I was lucky enough to I had my second daughter about 6 months ago. So I was lucky enough to have somebody help me for the couple months that I wasn't baking. And that was great. And, eventually I'm going to have to kind of pull the plug and get someone to help me. But for now, it's been good.
Which will be a great plug to have to pull. I mean, that's awesome. Well, I'm going to put it up again. Why don't we put up on the screen? It is on Instagram at FOMO Baking Co. That is one word. And also the website, if you want to check them out online. And I believe you can order right off the website. Am I right, Brittany, on that?
You can order online. And if you live locally and you want to ship because you don't feel like driving, that's totally cool. Otherwise, you can just choose pick up at checkout and find a time that I'm here to come pick up for me.
You got it. And that is FOMOBaking.com, and they are out of Ridgewood. So they are, I mean, I would say if you live within like an hour radius or even more, it's worth the drive. I mean, first off, you could save the shipping because I'm sure there's a shipping cost, but it is worth the drive to try these things. And if you have anybody in the household or your family, or you know someone that is, has a gluten allergy, this is a really cool gift to get someone. I would think like if I knew someone that struggled to eat regular chocolate chip cookies, this would be a really cool gift to give someone.
Absolutely.
Because you're giving them like
shipping right now.
What'd you say?
We do have free shipping right now on all orders for $30.
Even better.
There you go.
So you no excuse.
Now you have no excuse. And they show up at your door.
Yeah.
Like I had. And the boxing that you guys have, by the way, I am like the last person that's into like designing and stuff, but the boxing and the packaging you have is awesome with the colors.
Nice.
So my wife, I don't know if I told you this, Brittany, I don't know if I should be saying this, but when I got the cookies, I thought at first we'd ordered like the kids' shoes something that week, and the box was so fancy that we thought it was the kids' shoes. And then we opened it up. I'm like, oh my God, this stuff looks amazing. And it was not shoes. It was way better than the pair of sneakers we were waiting for.
They probably taste better too.
That would taste way better. Well, thank you for coming on. You can come on anytime you like, Brittany, and we will we'll continue. Yeah, and we'll continue to watch you grow with FOMO Baking. Great business, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
You got it. And so that is a Brittany Baker with FOMO Baking. Again, check them out.
Absolutely.
Again, I made this promise, or I made this pledge a couple weeks ago, that when we were doing this kind of summer small business spotlight series, we were not just going to randomly, pick the deli at the corner. The candy truck 2 weeks ago is awesome. The donuts at Derek Cole Donuts, I mean, my kids love them. They're obsessed with them. They won one of the best donut shops in the state, if not the country. And FOMO Baking, this stuff is amazing as well. So we are continuing the trend with bringing you top-notch businesses.
Our tummies have high standards.
We do. We definitely do. So, definitely check them out, and we congratulate Brittany on all her success. So any last parting thoughts for you today, sir?
No, great show. Brittany was amazing. You could see her beautiful kitchen behind her too.
Yes.
She's got a nice operation going on there. So definitely check her out.
That is very, very cool. So next week when we are on, because again, we are back to the weekly schedule. So I get to see your smiling face every week.
Absolutely.
Which, I mean, look, if I'm living the dream here one day at a time.
Same.
Next week we will be taping on Tuesday, and on Wednesday next week, so the day after we tape, will be the expansion draft for the NHL for the Seattle Kraken.
Wow.
So we will know what Ranger is heading to the Pacific Northwest, and again, let's hope it's Brett Howden. And
that's so nice.
Hey, the one thing I am.
Please take this guy.
Listen. Doug, he played 42 games this past season. How many goals do you think he scored?
0.
1. The year before, he played 70 before the season got shut down. How many goals did he score?
1.
9. He's not that good.
Okay.
He can go to Seattle. So yes, but the one thing I try to be, and I know you appreciate this because you've said this, I try to be fair, right? Like I'm not going to tell you every person that ever put on a Ranger jersey is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I'm with you. I like the controversy. I like when you say ship them off to Boston
or ship them off to Seattle.
Ship them off to Seattle. Whoa.
It's a Dropkick Murphys.
Yes,
I know. I went to school in Boston. You know how many times I heard that song?
Every day.
Yes, every day. If we went to
it's like the national anthem.
It is. If we went to it's like if you went to Miami. Like my brother-in-law went to Miami actually, and I remember it was 2000. We went on. My parents took us to Miami for winter break. And when you landed in the baggage claim in the airport, the Will Smith song "Welcome to Miami" that came out the year. It was just on repeat.
Wow!
So that was the anthem in Miami, and shipping out to Boston was the anthem in Boston.
The Pledge of Allegiance.
We need.
You say it every morning.
Now we need a song like "Welcome to Wyckoff."
Yeah,
that's where we tape our show. You can work on that with your back end people here at Undefeated Media.
Brian's into music, man. We'll make a track.
We'll make it work. So again, anytime you want to send us your questions, if you disagree with me and you want me to talk more next week about who else the Seattle Kraken can pick and you want to hold on to Brett Howden for some reason, feel free to do so. You can email us your questions at any time. And if you're following online, you can see the email just up there. mypbshow@gmail.com. And that is a wrap for today, I believe.
Good job.
Do you have any other thing to add before we say our goodbyes?
I don't think so. Am I forgetting something?
No.
I'm transparent. You can, if you have something in mind.
No,
Oh,
I
I got nothing. You got nothing?
Just do me a favor.
What?
Stay away from betting on cornhole over the weekend. That'll be your job.
Dude, I forgot what it was. I was asking Adrian. I was like, should I bet on this? And she was like, nah,
No,
you gotta stop.
we're in trouble with you in football season. We better step up our game.
Oh yeah.
I better step up my picks.
I'm locked and loaded now. But after the NBA, what is there to bet on? Whatever.
Football will be in the
Yeah, but
end
that's
of
like a month
away.
or so.
Yeah, but you can bet on preseason, knowing you. Look, if you're a real
You can bet
degenerate,
on anything.
right? If you're a degenerate, there's ping pong to bet on, sweetheart.
Ooh.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in. That's it for this episode. Tune in next week. We will be back with you. We thank Brittany Baker again of FOMO Baking Company out of Ridgewood, New Jersey, and enjoy the rest of your day and have a great week.